studio.
Yeah.
But for instance, when we had the great success, afterwards we were just going out for playing on the keyboard, which was not coupled to any kind of mixer or anything. It just was fake, you know. So
Playbacking.
And that was in the beginning, like doing 2 or 3 shows in a month. It was okay, but after a while we did like 30 shows a month, and that was crazy.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
That was not from the heart.
Not from the heart.
No.
This was only for the money and just grabbing everything. And
it was an act.
It was an act.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it was an act.
Yeah. But is there something wrong with that? In Advaita they say there are no mistakes. Everything is just as it is, and
it's no mistake. I don't judge it, but the only thing is, the heart is bigger, and the heart is whole.
Let's say they ask you for the jury of The Voice of Holland.
Yeah.
Would you do that?
Yeah, sure.
Why?
I like it because I like to give my opinion. I like, for instance, yesterday I was watching the program, and I was thinking, how many talents have we got? For instance, Pleun was singing her Pleun bier nog iets. She was singing, and I was having those goosebumps, you know. And then Waylon said it all, and I thought that's a really good job to be there in the jury. I'm not a master at music because I have to play my music in the computer, just touching with 2 fingers the keyboard. But I can be touched, and I also can give people trust, you know, faith in what they do.
That could be a next career for you, also producing new talent, or.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I already do it with a young DJ.
Okay.
Yeah.
But no female singers,
no.
Or no.
No.
And how can I taste the difference between something that is made from the heart and something that's made from the head?
A hit made out of the head can also be some other people. It's not that.
It's not universal.
No. You know what it is? For me, it is important to produce something out of the heart, because when I feel like emotional, then I know that a lot of other people also feel the same emotion, because emotion is universal. You understand?
Yeah.
But when you are very smart, you can also make a hit out of the head, because you know with the head which is emotional.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So that's no problem.
Okay. And tonight, when you were playing for let's say 1,000 people.
Yeah.
I did that also, playing a lot in clubs, and for me, at one point in the evening, there comes a kind of shift where the DJ goes away, the audience goes away, and the only thing that's left is that vibe, that atmosphere, that party scene. How is that for you? Do you still experience that shift?
Yeah, same. And it also goes. It also goes.
Yeah.
Like it's coming, you're in this flow, and everything disappears and it just happens. But also, at some moments, then you are in the duality again.
Yeah. How come? Where does the magic end?
That's the head.
The head comes in.
Yeah, that's the head. That's the head.
People become aware of themselves.
Yeah, and that's also emotion. Because sometimes I also, sometimes I'm also scared. I have it also sometimes that I'm scared.
When you're playing?
Yeah, sometimes. It's not many times. But sometimes I also feel like a bit of scaredness comes. That's also an emotion. I think you can experience it also. Yeah. It's a little bit of scaredness. Then I feel that I'm in this duality.
Yeah.
But I also can laugh at it. Oh, there it comes again. Yeah. And then I go on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then it goes. Just like the clouds in the sky, just like the waves on the water. It's okay. It's a part of me.
How come that when we are playing, I tried once making a playlist in the afternoon. I said, I'm going to play that song and then that song and then that song. And I tried it. After 3 songs, I threw away the playlist. This doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
Well, how come?
Well, that's the beautiful thing. That's the beautiful thing about our job, like being a DJ, that the audience, the crowd, helps you to choose your records.
It's a strange thing how that works.
It's one.
So, but who decides the direction then? Are you the orchestrator of the? What is orchestrating the thing?
Well, both.
Audience and DJ.
Yeah, both. They do it both.
Yeah.
Yeah. For instance, I'm giving this step forward to no. The party organization is booking me for a party. Okay, then I say yes, I do it. I come and I start my gig.
Yeah.
And then some of the audience from the crowd come to me and say, "Hey, Ramon, can you please play this and this record?"
Yeah.
They help me. And I said, "Yeah, good.
Yeah.
That's really good. What you? That's a really good suggestion."
That's a strange thing because sometimes you don't know, and there comes someone from the audience who says exactly the right track you have to play at.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, that's strange, huh? Yeah, and that's a beautiful moment.
And that is also in Zen conversation.
A question pops up.
It comes up, and the wholeness, the oneness comes up in the satsang and also in the daison with the Zen or whatever you call it.
Doesn't that feel a little bit awkward for you because you get paid a lot of money to play the records? Mm-hmm. The audience has to pay money to come and visit the party. Mm-hmm. Isn't it a little bit out of balance?
Yeah.
If we talk about this, because the audience plus the DJ makes the party. Mm-hmm. And I know there has to be some difference, but we know that it's all the same. So, let's talk a little bit, if you want to, a little bit about money, because that's, for me, I stopped playing as a DJ because I didn't get the feeling out of it anymore. I hated it at the last couple of gigs.
I know that feeling. Yeah.
But I still thought, man, but this is 1,000, 2,000 euros I can earn here in 2 hours. Yeah. I cannot say no to this. But all my buddies said, and the strange thing, I got really scared to play records because my whole body said, no, never again. Money, it still is a part of how
I know the feeling. I know exactly the feeling what you're talking about that is becoming a head thing. Yeah. That's head.
You cannot follow that motivation.
No. And it's also very nice when people like you so very much that they pay a lot of money for you to come and do your trick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
for instance, how is it? This Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah.
I don't think that he just comes to a satsang all over the sea, from Canada to Holland, just for the energy, for the prana. No. And I don't think that that other guys which are doing a very good thing do it. I think money is also energy.
Ah.
Yeah, and when you see it like this,
it's love. Money, it's a package of love people give you.
Yeah, but when you don't see it like this, you can also see money like something else, like dirty cash.
Yeah, but that's when you earn it maybe in the wrong way, when your heart is not in it. Because I know when I earn a lot of money and I go out the next day to eat and I taste the food and I know it's made with love, I give a big tip.
Yeah.
Then the energy starts flowing again.
Yeah. And the same, for instance, when I see Lionel Messi playing, I like it so much when he plays the soccer, He is not... he likes the game. He really likes the game from the beginning until the end. Yeah. I never saw him, maybe one time that I saw him like being a little bit of negative. But most of the time, he is just as good as he ever was. Yeah. And that is really, really, really good, Yeah. And that is the most important, that you like the play. Yeah. Just the play. It's the play. Yeah. It's all the game.
What do you think is a good age that a DJ should stop DJing? DJ Jean is now, what is he, 52, 51?
Yeah.
Isn't that, aren't you
never?
Losing? No?
Never?
Aren't you losing the connection with the youth and
No, then it's the heart.
Okay, the heart is timeless, it's ageless.
Yeah, it's inside, Yeah. And whatever the people say, for instance, Heino. I know I know the singer. Yeah. I was walking in Germany and one time and I saw this big billboards of Heino, and he was I thought he was already dead. Yeah. But he was like 72 and he made a new album. Yeah. And he was there with his white hair and his black glasses and just made a big tour. 72. Unbelievable.
Yeah. So you think you're still going to do this?
I think I said to Theo last time. I said I think that in 20 years we were coming on the stage with the rollators.
In a wheelchair.
In a wheelchair.
I can. Okay, some final words because your brother is getting a little bit anxious. He wants to get some nice clothes.
At the shopping mall.
at the shopping outlet. For some young DJs, one of the reasons I do this interview is also to inspire them.
Yeah, that's really important.
Yeah, you also inspired headhunters.
Mm-hmm.
Willem is also into. Should every young DJ get a taste of this Zen thing, Advaita thing? Can they help?
If they want, then they have to do it. But I think the real important thing is just to follow your heart. Just to do what you like and do it as long as possible. I had a few years ago. I had a very famous DJ, which is now very big in the hardstyle scene. Also, we had some appointments. We did some meditation, and we talked about this thing. This thing. And he was not satisfied with his life at that moment. And I said to him, man, you have such a really good life, and maybe you don't see it at this moment, but you can do this thing which you were dreaming of when you were a little child. You are playing very good music, and you have a lovely girlfriend, and you traveling all around the world for so many people which like the things you are doing at this moment. So live your life. Do it at this moment. You are 30. Live your life.
Enjoy.
Yeah. And he did it. And he's very thankful.
It worked.
Yeah, and that's what I like. Yeah. That's what I like. So I want to say to all the youngsters, the DJs, just do whatever you want. And love life. Love what you do.
Finally, some advice for jocks or DJs who feel like they're maybe also coming into a burnout, that they think it's all too much traveling, too much everything. We have in Holland here this guy who stopped playing as a DJ, who also became in a burnout. What's his name again? He was also at RTL. What was his name again? He was this RTL late night. Not Sidney Sampson, but.
Yeah, I know what the guy who is with this runner with Nicky Romero.
Nicky Romero. He stopped playing because he couldn't handle the stress anymore.
And that is really important. So listen to your heart. Listen what your heart is saying. I mean, when you feel, listen to your body. Your heart is your body. Yeah. So listen.
But there's a management that says, "Come on, don't be silly. You're 20, 25. You can handle this. It's all between the ears."
Yeah.
Is it maybe the fault of the managers who keep pushing their talent, or?
It's not the fault. It's your responsibility. It's your own responsibility. You also can say no
to a gig or for a year.
Or what you can say is like, what I want to do now is that I'm just playing once a month or 2 times a month, but to get some air. Yeah. Really like literal and also physical. Get some air. Yeah. Go out. I know what it's like to be in a studio, sitting there and only producing, getting white of not coming outside, no vitamins D, just sitting inside, no fresh air, and just sitting and just being creative. Well, there's a big story. You can't be creative if you want it, because creativity just comes when you let it go,
Inspiration isn't something you can order via email or telephone.
That's what we think.
We think we can make this.
And if they want it, then we come to the point of Zen. And I don't want to use the word because my throat, because words are also like sounds. But then you come to quietness. Just go in quietness. Go for 1 week or 2 weeks alone in the mountains and see what kind of inspiration comes there. Read a book about Nietzsche, how he did handle this thing when he was a professor, went to the hills, to the mountains in Italy, and get some inspiration from those guys. Yeah.
So no quick fix. You don't have any advice for jocks or DJs who are now at the edge of the cliff. And you say, okay, tomorrow at 9 a.m. get up, start meditating, start running. No program.
There are many things. You can go sporting. You can go sporting. Go outside. You can let your energetic body flow. You can sit quiet in meditation groups. It's so possible. But the main thing is that
listen to your heart.
Listen to your heart.
Roxette saying it. When people want to watch your documentary online, is it also with English subtitles?
No.
Ah.
Yeah, we have to do that still.
We have to get someone.
Yeah. It's good that you say it. You told it already to me. I think 100 years ago. So.
In the Dutch interview. Yeah. Oh, for our Dutch viewers, there's also a Dutch interview we did. Thanks again for this nice talk.
Yes.
And good luck with everything.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, I asked you a long way from home.
Yeah.
And you replied,
well, home is always here, right?
yeah. So no feelings of, I wish I was home back in Australia right now?
No.
Never.
No. Never such a, how do you know, yeah? Next moment it can come.
Yeah. So it reminds me of the Paul Young song, wherever I lay my head, that's my home.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there a lot of truth in music?
Some people have, I mean, it's clear, you know, people have been touched and they express it in all kinds of forms. Just in walking and talking and being quiet.
So what was your first encounter with the truth?
For me it was very funny. When I was about 19, kind of by chance I ended up taking some LSD, and on that I had no background of drugs, and I wouldn't even call it drugs, I'd call it medicine. On that substance, all the doors opened up, and I had the experience of unconditional love and knowing, yeah. And so that was the first big taste, and it kind of changed the direction of my life.
But the next day after you took LSD, it was still the same?
No, it wasn't. But what had changed was I'd experienced something that I knew was real, even though it was so-called substance. The knowing that happened in it, I knew was real, and for me it was like, if this is a possibility to live like this, I want to. And so that's what changed direction for me.
So you went over to the drugstore and asked for a
a
year supply of LSD?
A lifetime supply. Because up till that point I had never heard of teachers, I'd never heard of anything, I didn't know. So yeah, it was unexpected, and it was funny because other people took LSD and they didn't have that experience. They had, they saw some things, but they didn't have that recognition of, I would say, the essential nature of everything. But for me, it was just my luck, and it opened up like that.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
And then came Papa G, or what was it, a long period?
Yeah, that was then. What happened for me was I could see that my thinking was distorted, and that I was seeing life through a filter. And I knew that somehow I had to start to recognize what these filters were and come out of it. I knew I had to re-examine every belief, and I didn't know. And I also saw my priorities had been all askew, and I knew, that sense of just being and that complete connection with everything. So, but it also set up some interesting confusions, because for years I was looking again for that experience, and so I was always measuring whether I was present by the experience that was going on. And that was one thing. When I met Papaji, he said to me, on the surface of the ocean there are waves. Deep in the ocean it's very quiet. But if you have a preference of one over the other, then you're on the shore. And so it was like, it hit me like wow, okay. So this running after any experience was mistake, basically, to recognize that in which all experience happens, and that made a subtle but a profound shift for me.
So the seeking stopped.
Then the seeking stopped, yeah.
And how long after that you were inspired to talk to people about this?
Yeah, for me it was a funny way that it progressed, because I had been working with people, doing what I called awareness work, and up to that point it was clear to me that ultimately all that we have is our attention to give each other, or to, that's the interface. And I could see that the habits of attention, not only where our attention was, but how our attention was focused, determined not only the experience that we had of life, but also how other people felt us. So certain, like if you're looking through a critical habit of attention, the people that are the recipient of that quality of attention, it affects their physicality.
Yeah, feel it.
Yeah, they feel it for sure. And like in families, now we know that certain qualities of attention within the family system can cause someone to be sick or depressed or suicidal. So I was recognizing that the habit of attention that was, going on in the world was not a particularly friendly one, and that it was actually causing a lot of difficulties, not only for who was, from where the attention was coming, but also for everyone around them, especially to the people most meaningful and that you love the most. So, within the family system, the habits of attention between the parents and the kid can cause huge problems and rifts, and it has nothing to, it's just like a habit, you could say, and because it's unconscious and it's not noticed, it just continues. And then, of course, it sets up all kinds of dynamics. And so I was doing that kind of work, and was reasonably successful at that, and getting well known in newspapers and TV and stuff like that. And
Dr. Phil. The Australian Dr. Phil.
And I wasn't in Australia at that time.
No?
I was living in Hawaii. Yeah,
okay.
Maui, yeah. And then when I met Papaji, I knew that traveling like that, you have to hire centers, a year in advance. But when I showed up, I said, look, I can't do what I was doing anymore. And if you found something better, you have to show us. Just spent 3 weeks in India, and I felt completely unprepared, or I didn't know. I didn't know I'd seen being with Papaji, so I felt very insecure about it. But they said, listen, whatever it is, we want to know it. So then I started holding meetings, but
some people maybe got angry or left.
No, it was beautiful. But my plan was to finish with my commitments and go back to India to be with Papaji. And I got there, and as soon as I got there, he took me into his room and he said, you found the diamond. I want you to be available. Oh my God, I thought I could come there and just drink a little
Relax.
deeper. Yeah, drink a little deeper. And, and then at one point, maybe, because I didn't know what it was next. I just knew that what had happened up till then was over.
Yeah. But it wasn't a punishment that he said that to you?
No, but it was funny because, there was such a strong yearning to be available to truth, to this, in a way that was clean, that had nothing added, and that was where I didn't feel I could say really sure of myself, because I could see that there was still a lot of things going on in me that were unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
And I spoke to Papaji about that, and he said to me, you know where the moon is. You're just a pointer at the moon. And if you look, any finger is crooked. So don't worry about, what's going on, and you just point at the moon because you've seen, you know. And that was a big relief. Okay, great. So I
no
don't
more
have
worries.
to. Yeah, I don't. Well, I can't say no more worries, but
About that, yeah.
yeah, but you know, it's like because you know, it's that's the paradox of this whole thing. It's like, you know, you can recognize that there's nobody here, that there's awareness here, and that and yet there are these patterns that are still playing that show up in how life lives itself. You can say like that. Really, that has nothing to do with you, but still you can watch, you know, the craziness of your system doing its dance.
Yeah.
And
isn't that the biggest mistake the searcher makes, that he thinks he can find a state in which every so-called problem dissolves and only peace all the time?
But and this is the paradox, because at any moment that you're just quiet, there is no problem.
Yeah.
Okay, that's you know, it's like time and again people come to the meetings and they're involved in something that's troubling them, and the moment they quieten down, I don't tell them, they tell me, oh, it's no problem. Nothing here everything is fine. But then usually the comment is, yes, but then when I go home and I say, well, you know, you're talking about the past because you don't know what's going to happen when you go home. But the fact is that for many people, when they do go home, their habits reassert, and then they find themselves in similar difficulties, except that there's a difference, that they know that when there's just a resting with the attention in awareness problem.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, that's a luck. That's a deep luck, because for many people, in that recognition, what happens is it's like Pandora's box has been opened. Everything that has been suppressed starts to come up.
Yeah.
And in some ways people feel a lot worse than they did before, because what was not visible starts to become visible. But it's just a natural process. It does its thing. And yeah, you know, like, it's interesting, because what happens, it seems, is that for some people there's a way of taking an enlightened perspective at that point. There's this, you know, some people call it Advaiting everything away. They say, you know, look, it's not real, you don't have to trouble with it.
The Advaita shuffle.
The Advaita shuffle, yeah. It's like, okay. So, you know, it's okay, but in a sense, what happens is those patterns keep troubling. And so there are some recognition, some seeings that make that easier. And one of them is the truly investigating and seeing, okay, there's patterns going on, and these patterns are happening, and then really questioning deeply who's doing, you know, who's responsible for them. Because usually the idea is, you know, I'm responsible for it, it's me.
Yeah.
Because those patterns show up as a sense of me. They are the sense of me.
It's who I am.
Yeah, and or it produces the sense of separation, the sense of identity.
Yeah.
But nobody's doing it. So when life is looking through those patterns, it feels like there's a me that's doing it. But when you really start to look and see, okay, where did these patterns come from? Look, they come from conditioning. Where did that conditioning come from? Maybe people say, my parents, my culture. Okay, but where did that come from?
Yeah.
And then you start going back, you see, well, we don't know. So who's responsible?
No one to blame.
No one to blame. So that's a very critical thing, because what happens is when, you know, we're living our life, and then somehow something touches us, and there's some sense that everything isn't okay. It's like, that's the feeling, yeah? I'm not okay, the world's not okay, life's not okay. There's some sense that everything isn't okay. It's like, that's the feeling, yeah? I'm not okay, the world's not okay, life's not okay.
Missing out on something.
Yes, either missing out or there's an up, you know, because you could say one of the basic ways that people feel out of tune with what is is what we call an upset. Upset with time, upset with matter, upset with people, upset with life, upset with your looks, upset with each other, something like that. So there's some kind of an upset. And from the perspective of that upset, it feels and looks like there's somebody here who is upset.
Yeah.
Whereas actually upset is just happening. And when it appears that there's somebody that's upset, the tendency is towards blame, shame and guilt, which makes it very difficult to see what's going on. So this being able to see actually that the upset just happened, nobody did it.
Yeah.
And that even though it feels very personal and real, it's like what we keep seeing in the meetings is, you know, someone says, oh, I have this going on, and I say, how many people here know it? And everybody raises their hands, or almost everybody. And then you can see it's not personal, it's just something that goes on in all of us. Okay, great, then let's see if we can, you know, investigate it or see what it is. And then people can start to see the mechanics of it and how it functions. But as soon as blame, shame or guilt kicks in, you know, you've got another layer that makes it very difficult to penetrate what's going on. So, you know, one way is this way of that, of just bringing your attention back to awareness and resting. Okay, then there's no upset there at all in that. But another is that there's this investigation of what it is, and in that investigation, then these mechanisms can only function unconsciously. Like nobody would trouble themselves consciously. You know, nobody wakes up in the morning and says, let me see how much I can suffer today. And
let's make it a bad day.
Yeah, let's make it a bad day. And not only make it bad for myself, but everyone around me, especially the people I love the most, you know.
Yeah.
How we actually live, you could say. So
could you say, I think Osho, in misery you So making misery or making misery your own gives you a sense of being
self.